2D Entertainment தயாரிப்பில் சா பிரேம்குமார் இயக்கத்தில் கார்த்தி அரவிந்த் சாமியின் அட்டகாசமான நடிப்பில் மெய்யழகன் செப்டம்பர் 27 முதல் உலகமெங்கும்.
Today, we are honored to have with us Dilshan Wirasekara, the chairman of Colombo Stock Exchange, as well as the managing director of First Capital. With extensive experience in the financial sector, Mr. Wirasekara has been instrumental in guiding the CSE through local and global dynamics. With the left-leaning party leading the nation, what kind of what you are anticipating, sir, in the economic sector?
Yeah, so I think you have to understand that the NPP is not a totally leftist party. It is maybe center left. It's not totally leftist because it has evolved from the leftist party that it is and is no longer a pure leftist party. If you look at the manifesto of the party prior to elections, what they've said, I think they have been elected on two fundamentals of change that the people have voted for. The one is eradication of corruption, and I think that has been something that has plagued this country post-independence right throughout. It has been governed by two major political parties. So I think that is the first reason why citizens of Sri Lanka have voted in and asked for change, is to stop the corruption, is number one. And I think number two is that our poverty levels, the poor, has increased over the last 2 years, where we earlier had about 3 million of our citizens living below the poverty line. That has more than doubled to 7 million today because of the economic crisis. So I think people are also voting for change in terms of the helping the poor and to try and see a more equitable wealth distribution. So I think those are the two expectations of why they were voted in. If you look at the manifesto of the party, they are advocating a production economy. So to really move away from imports and import substitution being the driving force, try to produce things locally and then move the economy. So I think that's why people have voted for the NPP this time around.
Sir, given the current president is perceived to be aligned with China, is the Indian investment a safe here?
I think all investments are safe, not only the Chinese, not only the Indian. I think all investments are safe. Sri Lanka has had a long tradition of seeking investments for major infrastructure projects from foreign nations. We have always been a non-aligned country, so we don't have favorites. India are like our brothers, very close to us. We are the same people, we come from the same history. But China also is an important friend in the geopolitics of the area. So I think Sri Lanka's approach, and I believe even the new presidents and the new government's approach, will be to continue to be non-aligned and friends with all, friends with everyone.
Can you give the brief history of Colombo Stock Exchange, sir?
Sure. So the Colombo Stock Exchange is almost 40 years old now. Incorporated first as sort of a more broker-centric institute and has evolved into what it is today. It is still, unfortunately, a mutual exchange where the founding 15 brokers effectively own the exchange, but we are in the process of demutualization. And one hope is that the new government will expedite this and pass the demutualization bill, that the Colombo Stock Exchange then can move on to a demutualized exchange and run on par with other exchanges in the region in a truly independent manner. So that's what we are hoping to progress to.
What are the key investment opportunities for Indian investors here, sir?
So I think for Indian investors, the country regulations in India allow an Indian citizen to take out $200,000 or equivalent for foreign investment, right? So I think that gives a big opportunity for Indian citizens who can now bring their money legally to Sri Lanka and invest here, either in the stock market, in equities, or in fixed income, maybe government bonds, or even real estate. Right? So I think those are the three main asset classes as opportunities to Indians. And if you look at valuations, the Colombo market is far cheaper than what the same asset class is in India. So you can buy real estate, you can buy bonds, you can buy shares at a much cheaper valuation than what you can buy in India. So I think that's a big opportunity for Indians to bring in their investments into Sri Lanka. In also the close proximity of the two countries enable you to travel very, very fast from South India to Sri Lanka. It's less than 1 hour on a flight, right? So even in terms of monitoring your investments, seeing what is happening, all that is there. We are also very culturally similar countries. When you look at us, we are no different from each other. And culturally also we have similar beliefs and all of that. So I think there is a huge opportunity for Indian citizens to really make use of the Sri Lankan markets and invest with us. And I invite all Indians to come to Sri Lanka and invest.
What are the safety measures are in place to protect the investors, sir?
So there's a lot of regulation. So if you take shares, equity, the Securities and Exchange Commission is the regulator for capital markets in Sri Lanka. The Colombo Stock Exchange is the exchange operating it, but also playing a regulatory role. So we have some of the most stringent corporate governance rules. We have some of the best surveillance, insider trading. The new SEC Act gives the regulator a lot of power to impose fines and penalties for irregular trading activities. So there's a lot of regulation around capital markets. Also, when it comes to the financial sector, banks, finance companies, they are all governed by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Central Bank of Sri Lanka now is an independent authority. It is not controlled by the government. There's a Central Bank Act that has given them independence. So they monitor all the financial institutions. Then you have the Board of Investment that also then looks at the governance structures and all that for other investments. So I think the legal system in Sri Lanka protects foreign investors, and there are regulatory bodies that protect the foreign investors' interest. Also, from a government perspective, while we have had issues in the past when Sri Lanka has been in crisis, we have always managed to honor our obligations and pay back those investments. So even in the crisis, there was maybe some delay for foreign investors to sell their assets and repatriate back their foreign currency, but that has now been cleared and everything has been paid off. So right now, I think even the government, which is promoting foreign direct investment, foreign investment to come in, will ensure that those foreign investors won't, that their investments will be protected in Sri Lanka.
What is the Colombo Stock Exchange contribution to educate the investors, sir?
So, unfortunately, the capital markets knowledge locally in Sri Lanka is very low. And part of that problem is the financial literacy, because we don't teach about capital markets in our schools. The Colombo Stock Exchange is now in talks with the Education Ministry for the first time to try and introduce to the school curriculum a subject on capital markets and financial literacy. So that we believe that's where it starts, that at school level, that young students are educated on the opportunities available in capital markets for investment, and not just look at the traditional bankings or the savings as investments. So there is a lot of activity in terms of education that we are trying to do domestically. The Colombo Stock Exchange also engages in foreign road shows. So we go overseas, and last year we were in India, in Chennai and in Mumbai, where we conducted our road shows after about 10 years, along with the at that time the State Minister of Finance and all the officials, to showcase our market to Indian investors. So the Colombo Stock Exchange does local promotions as well as overseas from an investor perspective. We've also brought in a lot of new products. We have always been a single product market. Only shares are traded. It's not as complex as in India or advanced in India. So we have now introduced a lot of new products. We brought in REITs, we brought in short selling, stock borrowing and lending, we brought in various derivatives. The first green bond was launched last week. So new products, investor education, foreign investor road shows, strengthening the infrastructure, the trading platform. These are the things that we are doing to try and take the exchange to the next level.
Wonderful, sir. What efforts we have taken so far to communicate in Tamil, sir?
We are now trilingual. So if you go to the website of the Colombo Stock Exchange or look at certain marketing material, we have trilingual English, Sinhalese, and Tamil. But I think specifically looking at India, we may need to do more communication in Tamil, and that's something that we are conscious of. The exchange really wants to be trilingual in all our platforms, whether it's online platforms or a mobile app or anything else, that we will communicate in all three languages, English, Sinhalese, and Tamil. So hopefully we should address your question.
This is the last question, sir. During the election campaign, AKD said that a strong things have been taken against Adani investments in
Right.
solar energy. There is maybe solar energy or support. What will happen to the Adani investment here, sir?
So I can't comment. I don't know, but I think I don't think the president said he is going to revoke agreements. I think what he has only said is he will revisit and look at renegotiating terms. So I don't think, I personally don't interpret that as AKD saying he will cancel agreements. I think it's only that he's saying there may be some irregularities, and if they are, they will look into it and they may course correct. So I think that's the statement. You shouldn't misinterpret his statement that he's going to cancel Adani. I think what he's saying is, look, we will revisit it and see whether if it is feasible, if it is fair, if all due process has been followed. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't continue.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir.
All right. Thank you.
2D என்டர்டைன்மெண்ட் சூர்யா ஜோதிகா தயாரிப்பில் பிரேம்குமார் இயக்கத்தில் கார்த்தி மற்றும் அரவிந்த் சாமி நடிக்கும் மெய்யழகன் செப்டம்பர் 27 முதல் உங்கள் அபிமான திரையரங்குகளில்.